Myra, and this is Alive, our preparation for this upcoming Sunday, the first Sunday of Lent. And a blessed Lent to you. Lent truly is such a blessed time every single year, when we're able to grow all the more deeply in faith. And so many of us choose during Lent to spend more time in silence and prayer. And a great way for us to do that is actually to prepare for the Sunday readings every single week. And that's what we do here at this Alive videos, is we just take the time to reflect deeply upon what we're going to hear in this upcoming Sunday. So on the first Sunday of Lent, in year B, we're going to hear from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 1, verse 12 through 15. The Gospel of Mark, chapter 1, verse 12 through 15. I want to focus on one word. It says that Jesus went into the desert, that he was driven to the desert, but he remained in the desert for 40 days. It doesn't say that he was forced to be in the desert for 40 days, but he remained in the desert. He willfully chose to be there. He chose to endure the wild beasts. He chose to endure the arid climate. He chose to endure the suffering. So much of our life is us trying to avoid suffering, us trying to comfort ourselves or pamper ourselves. And yet we all know that it is through remaining, often in discomfort, or remaining in trial or difficulty, that we grow the most. And yet we fight it so terribly. One of my friends was speaking to me the other day just about, in the book of Ecclesiastes, where it says there's a time for life and a time for death, a time for war and a time for peace. You know, how really those are different seasons in our life. And just like we can't control the seasons of the world, and yet we know that seasons come and seasons go, we fight so much against often the season that we're in. Maybe you're in a season right now of depression, a season of desolation, a season of sickness, a season of cancer, a season of family turmoil. And sometimes we just have to choose to remain, to allow ourselves to be disciplined, to allow ourselves to be formed by the Lord. Just as it wasn't easy for our Lord to be against wild beasts in the desert, it's not easy to remain. But often I think it's the choice we need to make to be like our Lord. Hopefully that'll give you a little inspiration, a little strength, a little conviction to endure the discipline of Lent. Let's look at some other reflection questions. These reflection questions can always be found at allsaintscatholic.net. They can also always be found in the description below on the YouTube channel. Feel free during this Lent, all the more, like maybe this is the day that you need to make the commitment to start a small group. You need to call someone today. Or maybe this is the day that you need to really say, okay, you know what? I am going to find people to share these videos with, and I am going to have discussions online, in Zoom, whatever it might be, to really, really, really be who the good Lord wants you to be, which is a saint, my dear people. So here's some questions to help you really ponder these readings and enter deeply into the message that our Lord wants us to hear on this first Sunday of Lent. Number one, what's the basic message or story? Always a great question. Number two, what spoke to you? What verse or passage or image touched your heart in a profound way? What's one way you can act on that inspiration, that experience, that verse, that passage that touched your heart? What does the number 40 symbolize? Why is the number 40 used? Spend some time actually just brainstorming all the times that you think of 40 in the Bible. And then what does that mean? What do all those 40 have to do with you? And why is Lent 40 days? What does it mean that Jesus was driven into the desert? He's driven. Why was he driven into a desert, by the way, and not a swamp or a paradise island or a countryside or a prairie or a farm field? Why was he in the desert for 40 days? Who is Satan? Who is Satan? What are angels? Why were there wild beasts in the desert, and what do they represent? And lastly, it's a great question to discuss with some friends. What are some things you're doing this Lent? Why are you doing them? Always follow up with why. So oftentimes people do things in Lent without a why. So they end up just doing things, and at the end of the 40 days, they're like, yeah, I did that. Always do something during Lent with the intent of it changing you, with an intentional why. I'm doing X because I want Y to happen. I'm fasting during Lent because I'm addicted to food and I want to shatter that addiction. I gave up alcohol during Lent because I drink too much and I want to end that addiction. I'm reading my Bible more because I want to know Jesus more. I'm being more charitable. I'm going to help out at the food pantry, the soup kitchen, because I'm often too selfish or narcissistic and I want to root that out of my heart. Hopefully these questions and reflections will help you to prepare yourself for the first Sunday of Lent. God bless you as we enter into this Lenten season, and may God form you and help you to be the saint that you're called to be. Check us out at allsaintscatholic.net. Click on the Alive button, and you will find questions and resources to help you live your faith. God bless you.